Any advice and information from this podcast is general only. It has been prepared without taking into account your individual circumstances and needs. Before acting on any advice from this podcast, you should assess and seek advice on whether it is appropriate for your needs, financial situation, and investment objectives.
Hello, Yannick. We're back again.
Hello, everyone. Hello, J-Mac, and welcome back to another episode of Not Another
Finance
podcast. All right.
We got it this time.
We do. We remember the name because we've been so global now. It's pretty much plastered all over the billboards.
We're everywhere.
Backs of buses, interweb, socials, give or take. Not really. I just wrote down our podcast name here just so I wouldn't forget. How you been, Jessie, anyway?
Good.
All right.
Living the life, you know.
Yeah, watch out. Just come back fresh from probably a couple of holidays, no doubt. Good problem to have. All right. So for today, well, not so much for today, but for one of our episodes, something we've been working on and something I think you were maybe keen to discuss more than me, even though I think I've got more kids than you have, presumably.
I should think so. I have 0, so.
This episode, I'm not sure which number. It's probably up in the hundreds now so the magnitude's quite vast. But what parents should be talking about with their children or children regarding finance. Is that about right?
Yes, I'm very interested in this one because keen to hear what you say and, you know, what you do with your kids to teach them financial lessons, being a financial advisor.
A lot of those lessons can't be repeated in public forum. Otherwise, I could do jail time, public.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I don't know. We'll get to it. So is this going to be like a bit of a Q&A, or are you just going to grill me, or is this? How about we just sort of share it? Because some of it will come from yourself as well. Because a lot of what we do now and our thoughts on finance might have stemmed from or resonated from when we were kids, or you were kids, or you were a kid a lot earlier than me. Mine was definitely a few decades ago. But I still remember some money or financial lessons that I got told or learnt decades ago. Not so much age, but definitely some experiences that ring out and have they've kind of bared fruit or come to fruition, especially in my later years. So it's really interesting. And it's something, I do sort of slightly brainwash with my kids as well. There's like this repeated message, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Interesting.
So, so for the parents out there, or even if you're not a parent, you might mentor some kids, or, you might be an uncle and auntie or whatever, that some kids, depending on age, might kind of look to you sometimes as like a bit of a mentor or a bit of a role model. And this is definitely prevalent because, as we know with kids, they're like sponges. They'll absorb everything. Whether that's stuff on social media, actions from their parents, from their peer group, from their mates, things they see on socials, etc.
Yeah.
It does resonate.
And this is like prime time, isn't it? Getting them while they're young can make the biggest impact, I guess, the younger you are.
Yeah, look, they might not listen to it all, but they might remember some of it, and it might resonate a few years down the track and be like, oh, that was right. And maybe I should have bought all that crypto. No. Okay. Normal disclaimers. This is only general finance. No, we'll go from there. Okay. Did you want to sort of kick it off? Have you got questions for me? Have I got questions for you?
Yeah, I guess if you're happy sharing, you have a few of those kid things.
I do. And, I guess as financial advisors, finance is sort of close to our heart, and it's something we could definitely chat days about. So this could be broken up into about maybe 6 episodes, depending on how much we waffle on. But hopefully our buku listeners out there will get a lot from this.
Yes.
Yeah. This could save you a $40 book from someone. No, I don't know.
Hey.
We'll see how we go. All right.
So I guess you've got a few kids and they're still quite young.
They are.
And they sound like they're all uniquely different in their learning habits and
definitely
how they absorb things.
Yep.
How can you successfully raise a child to be finance savvy, I guess, or impact their finances in the long term in such a young age, I guess, where
God. Yeah.
What are you doing to kind of prepare your kids for?
So what am I doing now? So there's the why I'm doing it and the what I'm doing. I guess maybe we start with the why, then I'll try and get to the what.
Mm.
So my why, how deep do you want to go?
Let's go.
So my why is obviously with my profession now, but I've always been interested in finance even since I was quite young. Probably from my childhood, we didn't have heaps of money growing up. We definitely were on the lower end of the scale. There's no faults or anything there. It's just sort of how it was. But some people in my life definitely taught me a heap about financial literacy and just some sort of mindsets around it. But I was always interested in it. Like you'd see on the news as a 12-year-old, like what's the stock market? What's Wall Street? Like I was always interested in it, whether it was learning about business, real estate, what are shares, why do we pay taxes, all that kind of stuff. The why, I guess, it's definitely sort of cemented, whether it's in the last decade or whatever, have seen what financial independence can do for people. Everyone's different, but for my journey and what I try and pass on to my kids, it's not about this whole being rich thing, because that's just not what the message is. There's heaps of rich people out there, and you've probably met a few of your clients are what you'd call paper rich, but they just might not be that happy. Rich isn't just the end goal. But for, I've got an 11-year-old son and 2 other sons, but at the moment his friends, he definitely doesn't have socials. He cannot be trusted. But his friends have got it. Maybe they watch, TikTok, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. They see the rich side of stuff, the planes, the parties, the clothes, the cars. I have for several years been into him about the deeper messages behind that. Not everyone that is rich or looks rich is exactly happy or have everything sorted in their life. He'll see a flash car on the street, or Dad, why don't you go buy that car? I don't know, $1,000,000 Land Cruiser that guy's just kicking around in footy shorts and a singlet. He must be poor. Not really, mate. And you can definitely attest to that. We've got clients, when you look at their portfolio, their income and assets is pretty substantial. But if you were to look at them, they just look like someone who's just, I don't know.
Sometimes they have the most dodgy cars too, like the hubcap's gone and
100%.
it's all bumpy and you're like, what?
Yeah, I suppose jump into it and Google, I don't know what kind of car that Warren Buffett drives around in. What's his day-to-day driver? You'll probably be a little bit shocked. And he's up there in the top whatever of wealthiest people in the world. But so there's a bit of what I'm trying to pass on to my kids. It's not about the visual sort of wealth. It's definitely, there has to be more to it. I've definitely met people and know about people that are wealthy but just not happy, or they haven't got all the other things in their life sorted. But building back into the why, it can provide you a bit more stableness, a bit more opportunity. Let's be honest, we live in the Western sort of society of things. I've traveled mostly around the world. I've spent a lot of time in a fair few sort of third world countries, and it's funny, whether it's in Indonesia, East Timor, parts of the Middle East, you can see people that have nothing. They've got less than nothing, but they are still kind of face value. Kids and even adolescent kids are still happy doing what they're doing. So it's really interesting, especially prevalent if you go to sort of the Asian countries. I know you've traveled a bit, maybe not Japan, but Thailand or parts around Indo. They don't have much, but their kids are still kids. They're out there bouncing around. Look, I can give my 4-year-old $1,000 toy or a leftover box from buying a washing machine. The results are the box would last longer and get more enjoyment than the buku expensive flash jingly sort of toy. And I think the important lessons of the why will sort of, if you can keep at it, kids need a heap of repetitions, I guess. It might cast them into their teens, 20s, 30s. Because now that I'm working as an advisor, and you're the same, we do meet people that don't really have that many financial principles in place. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't make them a bad person. But we sort of talked about it earlier. It can add to a bit more stress in their life.
And I think that's the beauty of financial freedom, isn't it? Maybe that's something you want for your kids. That's
Correct.
the
not being
ideal
tied,
rich goal, I guess. Yeah.
And whether you see it in movies, read it in articles or magazines or on socials, it's not everyone, but there are definitely people that are tied to their job because they might be making a monster salary and they've earned themselves that right, whether they're a CEO, manager, business owner, corporate or whatever, massive income, they've got themselves there, but they then also got themselves in a fair bit of debt to support that lifestyle. And there comes a point in time when they start hating what they're doing, but they're tied to it because they can't really take a step back and hey, maybe I just want to work part-time at the florist. That's my dream job. But they've got a $2 million mortgage, flash-ass car, kids are in the private schools, nothing wrong with that, but building that financial independence lets you have a bit more flexibility in life. And let's be honest, I like the fact that compared to, say, my childhood, if my kids need to go somewhere for like a sporting event or something, we can kind of get them there without stressing out too much. But we've give and take. We can either have like fancy cars, but we choose not to, but we'll sort of get into those things a little bit later.
Yeah. So, can you give me an example, I guess, of, teaching one of your sons a financial lesson? Like, say they go to the toy store and they see a toy they like. How do you teach them what money's worth?
Like, personally, my lessons are probably, I don't know about all the other parents out there, my lessons are a lot more kind of practical. Now that my older son's, he's 11, he's interested in pocket money. I guess my lesson on that is I don't really give him an allowance, or he doesn't get pocket money for nothing. He's old enough now, like there's a heap of stuff he could do. He's kind of got to earn it because, look, let's be honest, if I just give him heaps of pocket money, sweet, here's $20 a week for just being you. You're a beautiful kid. When he grows up, the world's not going to give him that, whether it's academic, sporting, life. The world's not really going to do these handouts in a way.
He has to earn it.
He does, and they're just simple jobs. He can come to myself and my wife about things he wants to do. There's incentives for him to do them well, but there's also, is disincentive a word? Well, I guess there's kind of repercussions if he wants to slack. Like I've kind of, if he's slackened off or he doesn't want to do it, I've essentially kind of just gone, right, mate, that's fine. You're not getting pocket money. And then the next lesson on that is if we go out and he wants to buy, it used to be footy cards, or he wants to buy a milkshake or go to the footy and buy a burger. Like, did you bring your wallet? Yep. Have you got any money in it? No. Well, that's on you. Like, and I'm happy to start that because I started that lesson quite when I was young, and it's probably helped me be a lot more independent. Like I'm 40 now. Ever since my teenage years all the way up to now, I've met young adults that just don't have that concept, and they just don't get it.
And I think that's an important lesson too, because I think we speak to a lot of adults and we go, this is how much you're earning an hour. If you buy this, this is so many hours or so many weeks or months or years. Yeah. That's your cost to buy this. And I don't know if everyone understands that. So maybe that's a really good lesson that you're teaching him. If you do this particular activity, this is what it's going to cost you.
100%. And prime example, just gone the other weekend, I'll pay him sort of pretty basic sort of money to do some chores around the house. They're not things that you need as human, but just additional stuff, taking out the recycling, all that kind of stuff. But we helped a neighbour out do some sort of greenskeeping around their lawn, a bit of harder work, so I actually paid him a lot more, and you could see the incentive on that, and I reinforced that lesson. Like, do you know why I'm paying you more per hour? He's like, well, yeah, it's actually, I essentially got him shoveling sand in a wheelbarrow for an hour. Wow. And he went at it because I let him know, mate, I'm not paying you to sort of stand around, like we're helping out a neighbour here. But I paid him a lot more than what he gets in pocket money, and he was happy to do that.
That's really good. I like that.
Look at it, and it's not to sort of cement, hey, you got to go out there and work for someone and do this. It's just some different jobs might pay you a bit more. If the effort's there, sometimes the reward is there, But my boys, everyone's different. That's why we've got small business owners, entrepreneurs, global corporations. We've got just the people that do 10 hours a week at the grocery store. Everyone's different. Doesn't mean you have to go out and come up with, have 10 different companies or whatever. But there's got to be some basic principles that are put in there that'll kind of get you through that. And that builds into everything else, whether it's personal or financial. But, and it's got to resonate with the kids. My 4-year-old, he definitely doesn't really care too much about it. And we'll talk about sort of them different age brackets in a second. But my 8-year-old is definitely starting to click a bit more. He's in the ebb and flow of, pocket money's sort of important, but not quite. But he's starting to get those lessons now. Hey, if you want them if you want them Pokemon cards, like, where's your mate? You had the opportunity to earn some money, but you wanted to, I don't know, do something else. That's sort of on you. Like, but it can't be too harsh of a lesson where it turns them off. But
that's true.
And not everyone's motivated by it. I guess it just depends on the parents. My wife and I we're on the same page with that though. So if we go out somewhere, we'll buy them lunch or whatever. But if they want another milkshake, man, that's on you. Like, have you got money in your wallet or whatever? And they've seen the rewards of the whole the jar that you can't open, stashing money in there, loose change, money from Christmas.
Yeah.
And they crack it open and there's a few $100s in there. And they can go and buy a flash set of shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I do still fill their melons with like investment philosophies. And I'm like, here, you're 3. Read this Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. Report to me back tonight on a summary.
For a 3-year-old.
Yeah. Well, I got ChatGPT now, so they can do it. Hey, Dad, But, like some of my mentors when I was young tried to get me to read those. I should have taken some of those lessons. I did with some, but it's crazy. Everyone's sort of different. Yeah.
Do you have any lessons you remember when you were a kid?
Definitely.
That really helped you?
And we'll probably go into again a bit. A lot of the stuff maybe that happened to you or myself as a child has resonated to now with some of our principles. Didn't really have heaps of loose money kicking around. Started working when I was really young because I enjoyed the fact I could go out and do it and get paid way more than what pocket money would give me. But like the same thing, my parents didn't really. I think I got a little bit of pocket money, but I'd still have to work for it. But I started working probably when I was about 10 or 11. My mum and her partner had a small business in New Zealand, and I'd work on weekends. I was doing paper runs and all that kind of stuff. But some of the key lessons that kind of stick out, I guess, about the principles of finance. I had one of my best mates growing up. I used to work for him. He was a bricklayer by trade, but had a bricklaying and we did a bit of building. Anyway, 13, I think I started with really hard work, but as a 13-year-old boy, you're loving it. It's like pre-season for footy, and you're hanging out with adults. Like bricklayers are different to like Sparkies, and they're different to they're just a different type of trade. Grew up a heap as a young boy, listened to a lot of pretty R18 kind of chat around the job site, and they'd let you know if you were being slack or whatever. So it was pretty awesome growing up. Some hard lessons, good lessons. But anyway, the big one was shout out to Tuvi up in Darwin too, and Tiv, where this sort of story comes from. I remember when we were really young, about 13, started working with him. My mate and I were getting paid nearly double or triple what our mates were getting at like Macca's or whatever. Like I think we started on about, we were 13 getting about maybe $8 or $9 or $10 an hour. Hard work, but people we knew that were 14, 15 were getting like $3 an hour from Macca's. This is in the 90s.
Yeah.
But Tiv, his dad, sort of sat us down. He's like, righto, I think I might have to bleep out some swear words. No, but he's like, you're going to meet some people on the job site. Open your eyes, soak it all in, because you're going to figure out the ones that make a heap of excuses and live paycheck to paycheck, and just see how that unfolds for them. And I'd sort of see, 30-year-olds that were living paycheck to paycheck, which is, you get all right money, I guess, in that kind of trade even back then, but they'd be blowing it on their big weekends, wicked cars. They'd have nothing in reserve. So if the weather turned to crap or there wasn't work for a week or two, they were on the bare skins of their backside. Yeah, and they weren't sort of thinking a little bit about the future. Like my sort of mentor there had some other like business on the side. He was into real estate. Whether it was good or bad. Instead of just get $100 in, spend $100, and you're not really worried about tomorrow. And it resonated with me massively. I'm looking at these older guys. Kind of didn't have too much in their 30s and 40s, and then they're like, then you think, well, what happens for that whole rainy day, or if you want to retire, or have you built that flexibility to, I don't know, go on that holiday, or
you're a smart kid. You thought about a lot.
And even sometimes I look with my own parents, similar. They didn't really think too much about that side, or they'd. They might have had the investment curse from, say, their parents on, no, don't put your money there. Remember, like, the stock market crash, or it just wasn't in their sort of, everyone's case will be different depending on their culture, maybe even religion, where they grew up, if their parents were immigrants, if their parents came from money, what messages did they have? Because I suppose as a young kid, you only just listen to your parents. Like you probably would have listened to your parents a heap.
Yeah.
If they'd told you, J-Mac, remember Uncle Sam had all his money in the share market and then the stock market crashed and he lost everything? And if you're like, I don't know, 10 or 13, you're like, oh, yeah, and you get along well with your uncle, you respect them. You're like, oh, I don't want that to happen to me.
Yeah.
And how much do we hear that?
And it turns into like a core belief, isn't it? It's hard to shake later on in life.
It's ingrained in you. Yeah. And then you start passing it on if you don't. And there's no excuses now because the information we have is at our fingertips. Like when I was a kid, there was no Google, smartphones, kind of laptops. Like, you know, that you either had to subscribe to something or you kind of didn't have, you know, kids these days. Like my 11-year-old, if I let him jump on YouTube and Google, he could do 2 days of study and learn a gutload more about the share market than it took me 10 years to learn, like in my 20s or whatever.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what my parents did for me growing up. I'm not sure. I don't remember much when I was young, but I do remember I think it was my dad, and he taught me, you know, I think similar to maybe what you had, you know, there's 10 coins here or pens or whatever it was. If I take away 5, you know, how many's left? I needed the visual. Like on the desk, I just needed to see it to understand it because he'd talk to me about it and I'd be like, what are you talking about? And
was that the same as, say, when you were a teenager, you started like your first job or whatever? You're like, oh, sweet, I got like $200 or something, and then
I used to get $50 for cleaning the office my mum worked at, and she helped me do it. So it was a lot of money when I was a kid. So that
tax
really
free.
taught
we pay any
me
tax on that? Shout out to the ATO if they want to investigate.
No comment on that.
Pay your taxes, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a good lesson. I feel like I saw my mum work hard as well, and really show me how to earn that $50. So
and
good lesson to watch, even just watch your parents, and if they're good with money, I feel like that absorbs a lot as well.
100%. And kids will pick up on that. They like my 11-year-old definitely at the stage now where there's he's been at it for a couple of years, and even my 8-year-old, he probably gets brainwashed from the 11-year-old, but brands like Nike and I don't know, BMW cars, Gucci pants, like flash phones and all that. They definitely look the Western world. Not to get into it, that's another rabbit hole. Let us know if you want to go down that rabbit hole, fans. But when we talk about marketing and capitalism, if you just take a 20-minute stroll out in the street, have a look on your phone, how much you're bombarded with, I guess, product placement, product pushing. Hey, buy this, subscribe to this, eat this food, drink this.
They can be very manipulative too.
Oh, so imagine, you know, adults struggle to do it in their 20s, 30s, 40s. Imagine a 10, 12, 15-year-old kid just, I need to go out and spend $200 on these Nikes or Reeboks.
My phone told me to.
Because it's, that is a big challenge. Like, and I guess I sort of push that onto my kid. There might be big lessons now, but I think they'll take something from it when they're ready, whether it's, look, those clothes are made in the same place, made from the same sweatshop. There's a little kid in Asia somewhere earning 50 cents an hour. Like, you know, that's another story as well. But I guess all that sort of ties into the need versus want. The main one for me is, I think we talked about it before, is the whole car thing. Like, as much as I love cars, I was like, oh, why don't you get one of them? You're always looking at like nice Land Cruisers and stuff, Dad. Why don't you get one of them? I'm like, yeah, I could, you know, I wouldn't mind, but I'll be honest, I'm not a car salesman. If I buy that $100,000 Land Cruiser, whether it's on loan or now, in 5 years' time, it's worth 60, 70 grand. Whereas I know if I invest money in the right places, it doesn't have to be too complicated. It will most likely be a lot more than that. And that lot more than that will let me have, I don't know, an extra day off, or could have us on a holiday, or buy mum something nice. Because that's the important thing, buying mum something nice. No, not really, but just those little things.
Priorities.
And look, I'm probably a lot more persistent. I will try and ingrain those messages day to day. I don't know. Kids probably get sick of it. I don't know if the wife does, but like I push those messages a fair bit.
All right, we're going to stop it there, guys, and we will continue on with myself and Yannick's conversation on our next episode. Thanks, guys.